Chapter 1: The Hidden Code of Reality. Why Nothing is Truly Random. What if I told you that everything, yes, everything, you've ever called random was in truth encoded long before your mind had the words to name it? What if the very notion of coincidence is a clever veil, drawn over the eyes of a world too busy to notice the pattern behind the play? In this first unfolding, we must begin not with science, nor with mysticism, but with the whisper you've always felt inside, the one that says, "There's more to this than meets the eye." From the moment your consciousness took its first breath in this body, you've been immersed in a stream of experience so dense, so constant, that it became indistinguishable from truth. You see events rise and fall, names come and go, lives begin and end, all under the mask of chance. But chance is a myth told by minds that forgot how to listen. You've felt it before, those moments where reality seems to nod at you. The song that plays the instant you think of a forgotten friend. The time on the clock, always 11:11, catching your eye for the 100th time. The stranger whose words pierce a question you've been quietly asking for weeks. These aren't accidents. They are signatures, subtle, elegant fingerprints of a deeper intelligence woven into the code of your life. But to perceive this, one must step beyond the mechanical worldview that has shaped modern minds like a mold. You were trained, slowly and systematically, to believe in a world made only of matter, dead, unfeeling, without intention. Schools taught you to dissect, analyze, categorize. Everything must be explained by formula, ruled by cause and effect. Yet what of the inexplicable, the uncanny? The things that leave you breathless in their precision, but voiceless when you try to explain them? These are the cracks in the illusion. These are where truth leaks through. There is an order behind all things, not the rigid order of man-made systems, but a living intelligence, fluid, poetic, and profound. The ancients called it logos, the divine logic behind the cosmos. In Egypt, they whispered of Ma'at, the balance that holds the stars in their place and the soul to its path. In the East, it is Dharma, the unseen river that carries each being along its destined flow. Whatever the name, the truth is the same. Reality is not random. It is orchestrated, and you are both its dancer and its composer. Modern physics, with all its reluctance to speak in spiritual tones, has begun to stumble upon this truth. The observer effect in quantum mechanics tells us that the very act of perception alters the field. That particles, the building blocks of your reality, behave differently when watched. If matter knows when it's being observed, what does that say about the nature of the world you live in? Who, then, is watching you? Let us go deeper. Imagine reality as a vast ocean, not of water, but of consciousness. Every thought you think is a ripple upon that surface. Every emotion a frequency, every intention a signal. And just as a drop of dye colors the whole tide, so too does your inner world paint the patterns of your external life. In this ocean, synchronicity is not magic, it's navigation. It's how the current speaks to you, guiding you not with commands, but with echoes. But herein lies the tragedy. Most people never learn to listen. We were conditioned to ignore these signals, to laugh off the mysterious, to explain away the extraordinary. to call it luck or madness. And so we live blindfolded, hands outstretched in the dark, stumbling through a world that is, in fact, luminous. Let me offer you a metaphor. Think of life as a great story being told by the universe through you. But unlike a book written line by line, this story unfolds based on vibration, intention, alignment. Your choices, thoughts, and feelings are not just reactions, they are co-authorship. Every time you make a decision from the soul instead of fear, the plot bends. The symbols shift, new characters emerge, and the universe rearranges itself just slightly to reflect that inner change. You don't live in the world lives through you. Now, understand this. Synchronicities are not signs meant to entertain you. They are not cosmic jokes or spiritual novelties. They are the language of reality itself. A language older than words, older than thought. A symphony of signs, all tuned to the frequency of your awakening. But to speak this language, you must first unlearn the noise of the world. You must become still enough to notice the patterns, the repetition of symbols, the pull in your chest that says go this way, even when logic screams otherwise. You must become intimate with silence, for only in silence does the deeper rhythm reveal itself. This rhythm is not neutral. It is love in motion. It wants you to remember who you are. It wants you to wake up, not to a doctrine, not to a religion, but to your own essence. Because when you begin to see the patterns, you begin to see your power. Not the power to control, but the power to align. To move in harmony with the code that already exists, and in doing so, to shape your life like a sculptor shapes stone. You were never separate from this code. You were born from it. Every cell in your body sings its song. Every heartbeat is timed to its pulse. You don't need to earn its attention. It has been speaking to you since the moment you arrived. The question is, will you finally listen? And so we come to the threshold. If reality is not random, then you are not a victim. You are not drifting through a meaningless universe, hoping for luck or fearing misfortune. You are a being of infinite frequency, walking through a dream of your own design, waiting to remember the architect behind the curtain. In the chapters to come, we will explore this design in greater depth, the laws that shape it, the mirrors that reflect it, the energy that animates it. But for now, take this with you. Every moment, no matter how ordinary, carries within it a hidden code. And once you learn to see it, you will never again be able to believe in randomness. Because the truth is, the universe is whispering to you, and it always has been. Are you ready to understand what it's been trying to say? Chapter 2. The Veil of Illusion, How Conditioning Keeps You Blind. There is a veil stretched across the eyes of the world, not of cloth nor shadow, but of thought, woven from words spoken too often and truths questioned too rarely. It is a veil so subtle, so elegantly crafted, that most never even know it's there. They live beneath it, breathe through it, build their entire lives around its presence, believing its distortions to be reality itself. This veil is not draped over your senses, but over your perception. It does not block the world. It alters the way you interpret it. And it was placed there not maliciously but methodically, through systems that taught you what to see, what to value, what to fear. From your first breath, you were not introduced to truth. You were introduced to consensus, a world already labeled, already divided, already explained. You were handed definitions, ideologies, maps of existence drawn by those who forgot they were dreaming. The sky was called sky, and that was the end of the mystery. A tree was a tree. A name was given, and wonder disappeared. As a child, you saw magic in everything, but you were gently taught to replace awe with accuracy. You were rewarded for being right, not for being curious. Think back, before the numbers, before the rules, before the curriculum. Do you remember the way you looked at the world? How time didn't move in lines, but in loops. How colors sang, and silence had texture. That was not imagination. That was clarity. But clarity in this world is inconvenient, and so it was conditioned out of you. The veil is composed of voices: parents, teachers, media, science, culture, all whispering in harmony. This is how it is. This is who you are. This is what matters. And so, slowly, piece by piece, the infinite was trimmed down to a manageable shape. You were taught to believe in scarcity, to doubt your intuition, to fear failure, to obey authority, and perhaps most dangerously, to mistrust your own inner knowing. The sacred became superstition. The mystical became madness. And the universe, once alive and listening, was reduced to a cold machine. What is this system, really? It is not one institution. It is not one government. It is a network of beliefs, passed down, reinforced, encoded into language and law. A system designed not with chains, but with ideas. Ideas that keep you facing outward, never inward. That tell you salvation lies in the future, never in the present. That tell you truth belongs to others, never to yourself. School became the first temple of this system, a place where you were taught how to think, but not how to see. You learned facts, dates, formulas, but you did not learn how to trust the voice inside you that whispered when something didn't feel right. You were taught to raise your hand for permission, to sit still when your body longed to move, to memorize answers instead of asking questions. This was not education. This was programming, and it did not end with school. Continued in work, in media, in culture. 1,000 tiny instructions shaping your worldview, each one reinforcing the veil. You were taught that your worth is measured by productivity, that success means conformity, that aging is decay, that death is final, that your body is a machine, your mind a byproduct of matter, and your soul a fantasy for the weak. Can you see how complete the illusion is? But perhaps the most insidious aspect of this conditioning is this: it teaches you to police yourself. The system no longer needs to monitor you. You monitor yourself. You censor your truth, suppress your intuition, rationalize your dreams. You label your inner knowing as irrational, your feelings as too much, your visions as impossible. You become your own jailer, holding the key yet fearing the door. And the veil remains intact, yet cracks appear. For some, it begins with a breakdown, a moment when everything they believed turns to dust. A loss, a crisis, a silence so deep it makes the noise unbearable. For others, it begins with beauty, a sunset too perfect, a child's laugh that pierces the armor, a synchronicity that shatters logic. These moments are not accidents. They are ruptures in the veil, openings, invitations. You see, the veil is not impenetrable. It is not absolute. It is held in place only by belief, and belief can be shifted. The moment you begin to question, truly question, not with rebellion, but with reverence, the threads begin to loosen. The moment you say, maybe I don't know, you create space for knowing to emerge. To pierce the veil is not to reject the world, but to see it more clearly. To remember that the map is not the territory, that the name is not the thing, that reality is not what you've been told, but something you must experience, moment by moment, through the lens of your own awakened awareness. This is the great unlearning, not an act of destruction, but of reclamation. You are not here to escape the world. You are here to remember it, to see it not through the lens of survival, but of soul, not as something to conquer, but something to co-create. And so, the question becomes, how do you begin? You begin by listening, not to me, not to any authority, but to the quiet voice beneath the noise, the one that has always been there, waiting. You begin by feeling deeply, honestly, without trying to label or fix. You begin by noticing what moves you, what stirs your heart, what brings tears for no reason. These are breadcrumbs. Follow them. You begin by being still. In stillness, the veil begins to shimmer. You'll see it first in small ways, patterns repeating, dreams that speak, a stranger's words that echo your thoughts. These are not fantasies. They are reflections of a world that is not random, not dead, but responsive. And the more you see, the more you remember. Because the truth is, you were never blind. You were only taught to close your eyes. And now you are beginning to open them. The veil is thinning. Can you feel it? In the next chapter, we will explore the frequency that shapes the unseen. The law that governs not through punishment, but through vibration. The rhythm behind the veil. But first, sit with this. If the world you've known was built on illusion, then what becomes possible when you remember what's real? Are you willing to find out? Chapter 3. The field of vibration energy as the architecture of existence. Everything is vibration. These three words, whispered across ancient temples and echoed in quantum laboratories, contain the key to a truth so vast, so all-encompassing, that once fully grasped, it changes the way you breathe, think, feel, and see every particle of the world around you. And yet, for most, it remains a concept, distant, poetic, misunderstood. But in this chapter, we do not seek to define vibration. We seek to feel it, remember it, awaken to the living pulse that exists beneath all form. To understand the architecture of reality, you must leave behind the notion that the world is made of things, objects separate, still, and fixed. That illusion was a teaching tool, a simplification offered to children of consciousness still learning the alphabet of the physical. But now you are ready for the language beneath the language. You are ready to feel that there are no things, only frequencies. No separation, only rhythm. No dead matter, only slowed down sound. At the root of all spiritual and scientific inquiry lies the same silent truth. Reality is not solid. It is energetic, pulsing, and perpetually in motion. Atoms, the building blocks of your body, and the stars are mostly empty space. Within them, electrons don't even orbit in the way you were taught. They flicker, vibrate, exist in probability clouds, appearing and disappearing like thoughts in the vast mind of the cosmos. What appears as solidity is simply the eye interpreting frequency. What you call a table is vibration at a certain rate. What you call fear is another. What you call joy, yet another still. Every emotion, every thought, every cell in your body radiates a frequency. You are not a static being. You are a harmonic instrument, constantly playing a song into the field. And that field, the invisible ocean in which all forms arise, is not passive. It listens. It responds. This is why your inner state is not merely a mood, but a broadcast. It shapes the external world, drawing experiences, people, and synchronicities into your path that resonate with your vibration. The ancients understood this long before machines could measure it. They knew that to heal the body, one must tune its frequency. That sound was not merely entertainment, but medicine. That words carried weight, not because of their meaning, but their resonance. The mantras of Vedic India, the chants of Tibet, the tones of Egypt, all were frequencies used to recalibrate the human energy field. This was not religion. It was vibrational technology. But somewhere along the way, this knowing was hidden, wrapped in symbols, buried under systems that favored the intellect over intuition. You were taught to trust only what you could see, measure, prove. And yet, all the while, you were living in a symphony. You've always felt it, haven't you? That some rooms feel heavy, that some people drain you, that some music heals you in ways words cannot, that a certain color, a certain place, a certain silence can lift you from sorrow. This is the language of vibration, and you already speak it. But to truly remember, you must begin to listen with your entire being. Not just with ears, but with skin, with breath, with presence. Because vibration doesn't speak in logic, it speaks in feeling. You know this. When you love, it vibrates. When you grieve, it vibrates. When you enter deep meditation, you begin to feel the entire cosmos vibrating through your body, as though you are no longer separate, but a strand in the great web of being. And that web, the energetic matrix upon which the illusion of form is woven, is intelligent. It is not random. It holds memory. It holds codes. Sacred geometry, for instance, is not merely art. It is the visual expression of vibration. The spiral, the hexagon, the vesica piscis, these are the fingerprints of energy becoming matter. They are not designs. They are equations etched into the structure of creation itself. Your very DNA forms spirals. The galaxies above mirror the spirals below. As above, so below. As within, so without. When the Emerald Tablet spoke of "He who understands vibration holds the scepter of power," they were not being metaphorical. Power is not dominance. It is coherence. the more coherent your field, your thoughts, your emotions, your energy, the more reality bends not to your will but to your resonance. You become like a tuning fork and the field responds in kind. This is the foundation of manifestation, not forcing outcomes through effort, but aligning your vibration so precisely that what you seek finds you effortlessly. Not because you earned it, but because it is the only reality that matches your frequency. This is why intention matters more than action, why prayer moves mountains, why belief shapes biology. Because vibration precedes form. Change your energy and the form must follow. This is not New Age optimism. This is the operating system of the universe. This is why sages could walk through fire, why saints could heal with a word, why mystics could see across time. They were not performing miracles. They were mastering vibration, and so must you. But this mastery does not begin with control. It begins with stillness. You cannot shift your vibration if you do not first become aware of it. Feel it, witness it without judgment, and from that place of deep listening you begin to tune, with breath, with intention, with sound, with movement, with love. You are not at the mercy of the world. You are a tuning device. You can elevate your frequency through meditation, nature, music, stillness, service, truth. And when you do, you begin to notice the world changing. People treat you differently. Time behaves differently. Doors open. Resistance softens. Because reality is responding to your signal, not your struggle. But remember, this is not about bypassing your pain. Pain is part of the song. It has its own frequency, and when fully felt, it transmutes, teaches. It refines your field. Suppressing emotion does not raise your vibration. Feeling it fully and letting it pass through like a wave does. True vibrational mastery is not escape, it is integration. And now, let us ask the question you may already be hearing echo within you. If everything is vibration, then what is the source that vibrates? What is the stillness behind the sound? That is where we go next. Because once you've remembered the field, you must meet the presence that pulses behind it. The source that speaks not in words, but in waves. Are you ready to hear what silence sounds like? Chapter 4. The Law of Reflection, How Reality Mirrors Your Inner World. There is a law older than any scripture, more precise than any science, more intimate than any whisper, that governs the unfolding of your entire experience, whether you recognize it or not. It is not enforced by force, nor does it punish or reward in the way you were taught to believe. It simply is, silent, patient, and perfect. It is the law of reflection. And once you understand it, not just in mind, but in being, your relationship to reality is never the same again. To grasp this law is to pierce through the final layer of illusion. The idea that life is happening to you, that others are the cause of your suffering, that fate is blind and chaos inevitable. These beliefs belong to a mind asleep, a mind trained to look outward for causes, answers, enemies, and meaning. But the awakened soul knows better. It knows that reality in every moment, in every detail, is not a separate stage upon which your life is acted. It is a mirror reflecting precisely the contents of your consciousness. not symbolically, literally. Your world is not built from bricks and time. It is built from patterns, emotional, mental, energetic patterns that radiate from your being like waves from a stone dropped into a still pond. And everything you experience is the echo of those waves returning to you. Every relationship, every obstacle, every moment of grace, every silence, every coincidence, all of it, without exception, is a reflection of you. Not your personality, not your preferences, but the deeper terrain of your frequency, the vibration you broadcast with every breath you take and every belief you hold. This is not about blame. The law of reflection is not moral. It does not care about good or bad, right or wrong. It is a law of resonance, like attracts like. That which is within you will find its likeness in form. If you carry fear, life will give you reasons to be afraid, not because life is cruel, but because it is exact. If you carry joy, the world will smile with you. If you carry unhealed wounds, life will introduce you to people who press upon them, not to punish, but to reveal. Because the world does not respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you are. Imagine for a moment that every person you encounter is holding up a mirror. The kind of mirror that doesn't show your face, but your frequency. The coworker who frustrates you is showing you something unresolved in yourself. The partner who cannot love you fully is echoing your own hesitance to love yourself. The opportunities that slip away are measuring your belief in worthiness. The repeated patterns in your life are not signs of failure. They are invitations, loud, persistent reflections, asking you to see what you've not yet healed and to transmute it. This truth is both liberating and terrifying because it leaves you with nowhere to hide, no one to blame, and yet, in that same breath, it hands you the greatest power you will ever hold. The power to change your world by changing yourself. This is not spiritual metaphor. It is vibrational mechanics. Your subconscious beliefs, your hidden emotions, your suppressed memories, they are all frequencies. And those frequencies summon experience. If you believe you are not enough, no amount of external success will satisfy. If you believe the world is dangerous, you will live in constant confirmation of that belief. The mirror does not distort. It reflects with precision, which means that if you want to change the reflection, you must change the source. You must turn inward, not to escape the world, but to reprogram the signal you are sending out into the field. And how do you do that? Begin with awareness. Start noticing your reactions, your judgments, your emotional triggers. Each one is a clue, a breadcrumb, a mirror shard pointing back to something inside you that longs to be seen, felt, integrated. When someone angers you, ask not why are they this way, but what are they reflecting in me? When you feel small, ask, what belief am I still carrying about my worth? When beauty moves you to tears, ask, what within me is being remembered? This is not easy work. It is sacred work. It requires stillness, humility, honesty, but the rewards are profound. Because as you begin to shift the frequencies within you, the world shifts in response. The mirrors change. The lessons evolve. New doors open. not because the world improved, but because you did. You see, the law of reflection does not just show you your wounds. It also shows you your light, your gifts, your power. When you meet people who inspire you, it's not because they possess something you lack. It's because they reflect a part of you that you are ready to reclaim. Every mentor, every hero, every moment of synchronicity is a reflection of your own awakening, made visible. And what of the world at large? The chaos, the suffering, the division? Even there, the law applies, not in the way that blames the victim or denies injustice, but in the way that invites each of us to ask, what part of the collective mirror do I represent? What frequency do I contribute? When you heal not only yourself but the field. When you embody peace, you ripple peace into a world starving for it. When you step out of judgment and into compassion, you become the very reflection the world is yearning to see. This is the quiet revolution, the sacred rebellion, not of protest, but of presence, not of fighting what is broken, but of reflecting what is whole. Let me share a secret with you, whispered from soul to soul. You are not here to change the mirror. You are here to change what the mirror reflects. You are here to become the kind of presence that reshapes reality simply by existing. That kind of power does not come from force, comes from alignment. So the next time life confronts you with a pattern, do not resist. Do not flee. Look into the mirror with open eyes. Ask, what is this showing me about myself? And then listen, feel, respond with love, not shame. With curiosity, not defense. This is how the mirror becomes a teacher, portal, a guide. Because here is the final truth. The mirror is not your enemy. It is your ally. It is the map of your evolution made visible. And once you learn to read it, you will never again fear what life shows you. You will welcome it. You will bow to it, and in doing so, you will become a master of your own reflection. In the next chapter, we will go deeper into that mastery, the transition from passive observer to conscious creator, the shift from reacting to designing, from surviving to sculpting your reality with intention and frequency. But before we go there, ask yourself one question. If the world is your mirror, what have you been reflecting? And what now are you ready to see? Chapter 5. The Conscious Creator, Shifting from Reaction to Mastery. There comes a moment, quiet, unannounced, when the soul begins to remember its role not as a guest within reality, but as one of its architects. This moment rarely arrives with fanfare. It does not shout, it does not shake the earth. Rather, it stirs like dawn beneath the ribs, a subtle trembling that whispers, "You were never meant to simply endure life. You came to shape it." And in that whisper lies the ancient truth. You are not a bystander in this cosmic theater. You are a conscious creator, born not to react to the world, but to compose it. But first, let us understand where you stand. Most people live in reaction. From morning to night, from first breath to final sigh, they respond. To schedules, to systems, to moods not their own, to memories they no longer recognize but still carry like invisible weights. They react to the opinions of others, the projections of culture, the pressures of time. Their energy is shaped by what happens around them, as if they are clay and the world the potter. This is not failure. This is forgetting. Because before the conditioning, before the fears, before the masks, you were something else entirely. You were a vibrational being, a pulse of awareness capable of sculpting form through frequency. Your thoughts were not just thoughts, they were signals. Your feelings, not just emotions, but magnetic fields drawing in experience. Your very presence had power, shaping outcomes before words were ever spoken. To remember this is not arrogance. It is alignment. The shift from reaction to creation begins with a single recognition that everything begins within. Not some things, not sometimes, everything. Your life is not responding to what you want. It is responding to what you believe. And belief is not what you speak aloud. Belief is what you hold beneath the surface, what lives in your energy, what you expect, often unconsciously. To be a conscious creator is to become aware of those beliefs, those frequencies, and to choose intentionally, deliberately, what you are radiating into the field of reality. And how do you begin? With awareness, radical, uncompromising, loving awareness. Notice where you still react. Notice what triggers you, what drains you, what you still feel you must control. These are your teachers. They show you the places where your energy is being shaped from the outside in. And they also reveal where you are ready to reclaim your creative authority. Because creation does not begin with effort. It begins with energy. The conscious creator knows this. Your vibration precedes your circumstance. The outer world is slow. The inner world is instant. Shift your frequency and reality must rearrange. Perhaps not in the next hour, but always in time. The shift may come through grace or through breakdown, through synchronicity or stillness, but it will come. Not because you forced it, but because you became aligned with it. You are not manifesting outcomes. You are manifesting alignment, and outcomes flow from that. You see, true creation is not about controlling the narrative. It is about tuning to the field that already holds the experience your soul longs for. Everything already exists in potential in the quantum field, in the space where time folds inward. You are not making it happen. You are aligning with its vibration and allowing it to unfold in your reality. But this requires something most are afraid to give: responsibility. Not guilt, not shame, responsibility. The recognition that your inner state is the seed of every outer experience. That you are not powerless. That your thoughts matter. That your frequency matters. That your words are spells and your focus is a wand. And that every time you blame the world, you give away the very power you came to remember. This is not to say you must be perfect. It is not to deny injustice, pain, or shadow. It is to say you have a choice in how you meet them, and that choice shapes everything. So how do conscious creators live? They begin their days not with urgency, but with alignment. They anchor into stillness before action. They speak to the universe not with desperation, but with clarity. They set intentions not from fear, but from presence. They do not chase outcomes. They become the frequency of their desires and let life reflect it back. They know that visualization is not fantasy. It is rehearsal. That embodiment is not pretending. It is programming. That gratitude is not performance. It is resonance. They cultivate their internal world the way an artist prepares a canvas. And they trust, deeply, patiently, that the external will mirror the internal in divine time. They understand that doubt is not failure. It is a signal. That resistance is not a wall. It is a mirror showing where belief has not yet rooted. And when the world does not reflect their vision immediately, they do not spiral into fear. They recalibrate. They listen. They trust the rhythm beneath the rhythm. And above all, they remember they are not creating alone. Because creation is not solitary. You are not the only painter in this gallery of existence. There is a greater intelligence moving through you. Call it Source, God, the quantum field, the divine matrix. It is not separate from you. It is you, expanded, eternal, loving. And when you create in harmony with that intelligence, miracles unfold. Not because you forced them, but because you remembered how creation is meant to work. So ask yourself now, what have I been creating unconsciously? What emotions, beliefs, identities have I been broadcasting? And am I ready to choose differently? If the answer is yes, then begin here with intention. Not rigid, not desperate. Pure intention. Speak it, feel it, write it, breathe it into your cells, and then become it, live as if it is already true. Align your words, your habits, your environment, your relationships with that vibration. This is not pretending. This is activating. Every time you align, you affirm. Every time you affirm, you broadcast. And every broadcast sends ripples into the fabric of your future. Creation is not an event. It is a state of being. And now you know. So breathe. You are not waiting for your life to begin. You are shaping it now, always, forever. In the next and final chapter, we will uncover the ancient blueprint, the sacred remembrance of the invisible laws that shaped not only civilizations but souls. The final return to the laws forgotten and the power they have always offered to those who dared to remember. But before we go there, one last question. If you are the creator, what masterpiece will you now begin? Chapter 6. The Grand Return, reclaiming the forgotten laws of the ancients. There is a place, ancient, nameless, not marked on any map, for it exists not in geography, but in memory. A place beyond language, beyond lineage, where the soul remembers not what it learned, but what it is. And though that place may seem distant, unreachable, cloaked in myth and time, it is closer than your breath. For it was never outside you. It has always lived, patiently, in the marrow of your being, waiting for the moment you would return. Not with your feet, but with your awareness. This is the grand return, and it begins now. The world you inhabit is built on forgotten architecture, not of stone or law, but of consciousness. In the earliest epochs, before the stories of gods and kings, before history narrowed into dates and borders, there were laws. Not laws imposed by man, but laws woven into the fabric of existence. Laws that guided not only the movement of stars, but the unfolding of souls. These laws were known not by scholars, but by the initiated, the mystics, the dreamers, the ones who listen not with their ears, but with their energy. In Egypt, they spoke of Ma'at, the cosmic balance that governed all things, from justice to geometry. In Hermeticism, they were called the seven principles: mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. In the East, they became the Tao, the unnameable flow of the universe. Different names, one essence, one remembering. These were not theories. They were observations, spiritual physics, descriptions of how reality breathes, responds, expands, and restores. And those who aligned with these laws did not need to dominate nature, because they danced with it. They did not pray for miracles. They became the vessel through which miracles emerged. They did not seek to escape suffering. They transmuted it into wisdom. But over time, the world forgot. The temples fell. The teachings were buried. The maps were torn. And humanity, enthralled by its own reflection, began to worship the surface of life. Matter without meaning, success without soul, knowledge without wisdom. The laws did not disappear. They cannot. But they were hidden, distorted, fragmented, whispered only in mystery schools, carved into stone, encoded in symbols, waiting for those with the eyes to see. Now, something ancient is stirring again. The same intelligence that once taught sages beneath stars is now speaking through synchronicities, through intuition, through dreams and revelations. It is calling those who are ready not to believe blindly, but to remember vibrationally. Because the grand return is not a movement of masses. It is a return of awareness, one soul at a time, one alignment at a time. It is not loud. It is not televised, but it is happening. And you, yes, you would not be reading these words if you weren't already feeling the pull. So what are these laws? They are not commandments. They are mirrors. They do not demand, they reveal. They teach not with rules, but with reflection. They show you that the universe is not random, that it is mental in nature, that thoughts are seeds, vibration is soil, and emotion is the water, that what is above mirrors what is below, and that cycles, not lines, shape the dance of creation. These laws explain why your life repeats itself until you learn the frequency that created it. Why opposites are not enemies, but complements on a spectrum. Why every cause produces an effect, not as punishment, but as echo. Why masculine and feminine energies are not genders, but universal principles, moving within all things. They are not beliefs to adopt. They are truths to embody, to feel, to live. The grand return is the moment you stop trying to fight reality and start learning its rhythm. When you begin to harmonize instead of resist, to align instead of force, to listen instead of command, you stop treating life like a battlefield and start approaching it like a temple. Every challenge becomes an initiation, every person a mirror, every moment a message. You realize that you are not here to master the universe. You are here to master yourself in resonance with the universe. And that mastery is not about perfection. It is about presence. The ancients knew this. That is why their wisdom was always given through direct experience. not doctrine. Initiates were taught to observe the stars, not just read about them, to feel vibration, not just discuss it, to experience inner transformation, not simply memorize outer forms. And now, in this age of information and overload, the path is the same. You do not need more facts. You need frequency. You need to feel again what your soul already knows. This is why the law cannot be taught. It must be remembered. And so, the return is not backward. It is upward, forward, inward. It is a spiral, not a circle. You are not going back in time. You are spiraling into deeper layers of remembrance, bringing ancient truth into present embodiment. And the beauty of it all, you are not alone. Across the planet, scattered like stars in the dark, are others waking up too, remembering, recalibrating, becoming, not gurus, not saviors, mirrors, echoes, reminders of what you are and have always been. And when two or more of these lights meet, the resonance grows, the field strengthens, the illusion thins, and that, perhaps, is the true meaning of awakening. Not to escape the dream, but to lucidly participate in its creation. You are not broken. You are encoded. You are not lost. You are returning to the truth that you are both seed and soil, both question and answer, both echo and voice. You are not here to find the laws. You are here to become them. And now I leave you with a final question, not to answer, but to live. If everything you seek is already within you, then what truly remains to be found? Welcome back, Creator. Welcome home.